All right, for question number one, it says different relative positions of the sun, the moon, and the earth have different effects on Earth's oceans. Which model shows the positions of the sun, the moon, and the earth that have the greatest effect on ocean tides? Well, we know that spring tides are when you have the greatest effect on ocean tides. So we know that spring tides occur during a new moon or a full moon when all of them are aligned. So if I look at this one is not all aligned. So I don't have the earth, moon, and sun together. So I could cross that one off. This one also doesn't have them all aligned. So I could cross that one off. This one doesn't have them all aligned. I can cross that one off. But this one, I have my sun, my moon, and my earth right here, and those are all lined up. So I know a springtime has occurred there, and that would be my answer. Number two, which phases of the moon are associated with the largest tidal range? Pick two. So just like from question number one, I know that occurs with spring tides, which happen during a full moon or a new moon. So those should have been my answers. Which factor best explains the reason that average summer temperatures are higher than winter temperatures in North America? So I want to know why is summer hotter than winter? So A says the earth is closer to the sun during the summer months. That's not true. Cyclical activities on the sun causes more radiant energy to be produced. That's not true. C says North America is tilted towards the sun during the summer months. Well, that is true. So I would not pick that answer right away, though. Put a star or something. I want to make sure that I read all of my answer choices first. And D says ocean water temperatures near the equator influence North America during the summer. And my best answer choice is C, because I know that North America is tilted towards the sun during the summer months. Number four, in the summer, many people enjoy going to the beach. The photograph shows a beach in Argentina, which is located in the southern hemisphere. Okay, so I know that I am going to be looking at the southern hemisphere. If I was doing this on the computer, then I would have a scratch sheet of paper and I would draw out what summer would look like. So I know that I am looking at the southern hemisphere, this right here. It says which diagram shows the position of the Earth when it's summer in Argentina. I can cross off A and C right away because that's not even tilted. And then I have B and I have D, and it's summer on the bottom. Well, in D, it's summer in the northern hemisphere because it's tilted towards the sun. This little axis here is tilted towards the sun, and this one is away from the sun. So that's not going to be my answer choice. But on here, I have my northern hemisphere pointing away from the sun and my southern hemisphere pointing towards the sun. So this is going to be the summer in the southern hemisphere. All right, it says, according to the diagram above, during what month does Australia have the most hours of daylight? Well, Australia is in the southern hemisphere. And if I have the most hours of daylight, then I'm thinking about summertime. So I'm looking for summer in Australia. So this one would be summer in the northern hemisphere and winter in the southern. So that's not it. And this one is winter in the northern and summer in the southern. So this is the one that I'm looking for. So I'm looking for January. So if I go down here, I'm looking for which one. It says, according to the diagram above, during which month does Australia have the most hours of daylight? So I know it occurs in January. So January doesn't fall between March and May. It doesn't fall between September and November. It doesn't fall between June and August, but it does fall between December and February. So this would be my answer. The Earth moves in predictable patterns. One of these patterns causes approximately 12 hours of daylight and 12 hours of darkness during a 24-hour period in areas around the equator. This movement is referred to, well, if I have day and night within a 12-hour period, I know that it is caused because of the rotation of the Earth. So the Earth spinning on its axis is what causes that. What is the approximate percentage of the surface of the Earth that experiences night at any given time? So if I was just to draw on my scratch paper, okay, there's my axis. If I was going to shade which section is having day and which section is having night, this over here is night. So I shaded 50%. Half of it is having night and half of it is having day. Number 8, during which portion of the Earth's revolution around the sun is the northern hemisphere tilted away from the sun? So it says tilted away from the sun. So if I had my scratch sheet of paper, northern hemisphere is tilted away. And if my sun's over here, then I know that that is wintertime. If it was tilted towards the sun, then it would be summertime, but it's tilted away, so that is wintertime. Number 9, the graph illustrates the amount of moonlight measured over a period of time. What moon phase diagram matches point A? So here's point A. So if I go over here, my moonlight is at its lowest amount. So if the light is at the lowest amount, then it's going to be D, a new moon. All right, number 10. The diagram above represents the phases of the moon. Position 1 represents a new moon, and 2 through 8 represent the phases that follow, the moon follow. Which phase does 4 represent? So my light is on the right, so I know my moon is getting bright. So it's a waxing, and I know that this is a crescent shape here at 2, so it's not a crescent. So this is going to be my gibbous shape. It's almost a full moon, so it should be a waxing gibbous. Right here, D. Number 11, at which position on the diagram does the waxing crescent phase of the moon occur? Well, here's my new moon. That's the one I should always find first. So that means my sun is over here. So there's my new moon, and I'm going to be waxing, going from dark to light, and I'm looking for a waxing crescent. So that means I can cross 3 and 4 off because I know those are not waxing positions. So I'm looking at strictly 1 or 2. And crescent is just a little sliver of light. So then it is going to be at 1. Number 12. The moon appears to change shape in the night sky. This apparent change comes from being able to see only a portion of the lit surface of the moon each night. The diagram shows the different positions of the moon as it orbits the Earth. Which of the following is a true statement when the moon is closest to the sun? So we are strictly looking at this one. It's closest to the sun, and its orbit around Earth. So I know it says people on Earth would see a full moon. Well, that's not true. People on Earth would see a full moon. That's not true. So I know it would be a new moon. And so now I need to know what kind of tides occur at a new or full moon. And I know that that is a spring tide. So it would be D. Number 13, using the data table below, when would the moon, earth, and sun look like the following diagram? So I have a new moon here. So to me on Earth, it would be completely dark, although they did not shade anything here. So it's just showing a moon. And I know that in a new moon or a full moon, I have the highest tide. So I'm going to go down here to my answer choices, and I have the first, the third, the fifth, and the seventh. So I'm going to look up here, and I have the first, the third, the fifth, and the seventh. So the one with the highest tide out of all four of those is going to be January 1st. So that would be my answer. "14. A student is drawing a diagram to show the positions of the Earth, the Moon, and the Sun during a full moon. Where on the diagram should the student place the moon that accurately shows its position relative to the Earth and the Sun during a full moon?" So I am looking for a full moon. So I always tell you to look for the one that is closest to the sun first. So that would be 2. And I know that would be a new moon. So super easy. If this one's a new moon, then I know that this one is going to be a full moon. So my answer should have been 4. Which of the following shows how the moon appears to an observer on Earth when it is in the position shown in the diagram above? All right. So what I would do is just pretend like I am doing what we did during the ADI lab. So I know if it's in this position, then it would be a new moon. So this would be a full moon. So I'm going to go counterclockwise. If I'm going from here to here, it's waxing. So the light would be on the right. So it's definitely not going to be waxing. It's going to be waning. So anything where the light is on the right, I can cross off. So if I go down here, light is on the right. It's not a full moon, so I can cross those off. Oh, doesn't. So that leaves me with B and C. So if I go back up here, here's my full moon. And my first quarter or my last quarter would be right here. So it's not quite that. So my answer would be a waning gibbous. So it would be C.